Guyana Defense Force. And that is how the flyover took place. So here in fact is continuation of the engineering works. So this pile of rocks along the shore here, this is new. This has been completed in the last 2 to 3 months, and the whole point is to protect the soil from beach erosion, the sand here from beach erosion. So in addition to building, that is refurbishing that hut and installing, that is a washroom along the promenade and so on. The government has been building up the beach, that is securing the waterfront here with stones. So this pile of rocks, this is recent. They put the Civil Engineers Department to work, and they built this barrier to the beach here in front of the Marriott Hotel. So this is all new, right? But let me continue the story I'm telling. So the US military and the Guyana Defense Force have been running joint operations for the past 2 years or so. And that's because of the building tensions between Guyana and Venezuela. And so when the 2 FA-18 Hornets flew over Georgetown, it was in fact a planned operation. They were coming off of a US aircraft carrier, a Navy aircraft carrier that was stationed out in the Atlantic Ocean. So those jets came in, flew into Timehri Airport, which, as I said in previous videos, was a US military base during the Second World War. So the US operations in South America, and in Guyana in particular, is not new. So when those jets flew over my house in Georgetown, it was part of a planned operation. Nevertheless, it was quite loud and disconcerting because a lot of people weren't prepared for it. So some people came to the doors, came out on the streets and so on. And the point I'm making in this video is that while on the one hand it is good to establish military cooperation with the US in this
distance 3 miles, duration 54 minutes 55 seconds, pace 25 minutes 2 seconds per mile.
Alright, that's looking back where we came from. That's Pegasus Suites Corporate Center in the old Pegasus. You can see behind this wall of rocks. That's the Marriott Hotel, which you can see behind this wall of rocks. So while I'm saying it's a good idea for Guyana, the Guyana Defense Force to be in cooperation with the US military, nevertheless, this is a situation with Venezuela that we have to live with continuously. And no doubt it has something to do with the oil and gas industry, which ExxonMobil dominates. Actually, ExxonMobil is a 75% investor in the oil and gas industry in Guyana. China National Offshore Oil Company, CNOOC, is the 25% stakeholder in ExxonMobil's oil and gas operations in Guyana. So while that is the case, it is not in our interest to get into a fight with Venezuela. And we have traditionally used diplomatic means to solve our problems, right, using the United Nations, whereas the US has used their military force to solve problems. The problem with having the Air Force, that is the US Navy, flying their jets over Georgetown, Guyana, is that it conditions people to accept military aggression as normal, so sort of normalizes this aggressive stance, which is not normal for Guyana, right? And what it does is that later on, when the US is no longer an ally of Guyana, because of course the US only looks out for its own interest, as long as they can extract resources and make a profit, that's how they do business in the world, right? So inevitably what happens is that the US changes sides, as they did with Iraq and so on. But in the meantime, we have conditioned our population, Guyanese people, to accept this more aggressive posture, which is not a Guyanese posture, it's a US posture. And that's not a good influence over Guyana, because now when the US starts dropping bombs, they could be dropping on Georgetown, or they could be dropping on Venezuela, but Guyana is now involved. And that's the problem I have with it. It's not a simple and straightforward operation. It has to do with a national strategy for diplomacy and for peace. And since we are not a traditional war-fighting nation, we have not fought any international wars, it's actually inadvisable for us to take that stance now. Right? The problem is that we don't have the kind of deep thinkers running this country who are able to look long term at what the outcome for US involvement, engagement with Guyana will be, and the extent to which we should limit this kind of engagement. My position is that Guyana, or this region of the world, should remain peaceful, right? We should remain peaceful. We should also always use diplomatic means to solve our problems. And having the US military flying over Georgetown is a departure from that posture, and it's not a comforting feeling, right? In other words, when I saw those jets flying over my house in Georgetown, I did not feel comforted, I did not feel elation, I did not feel as if I was more secure from Venezuela. What I felt is that violence was in the air, that what is coming in the future is likely to be a violent war, because that is how the US military solves US problems. That's it, guys. That's what's happening in this neck of the woods. Just wanted to show you what's happening over here at the ocean front, the seafront here at Kingston, where the civil defense, that is the Guyana's civil engineering department, built this new retaining wall along the beach. And that's how they're transforming the city. More videos to come in the future, where I'm going to chronicle. The whole point of these videos is to show you how Guyana is changing in the era of oil and gas. In fact, it's rapid growth. Right over there, that's the an island, a new island that was constructed, was built for the oil and gas industry. It's a sort of shore base operations. So these videos are meant to chronicle the changes, the developments here in Guyana, and this civil engineering works at the beach.
Attention,
is
low
one of
battery.
the most recent. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana, the fastest growing economy in the world. Later!